The massive ship of the Galactic Confederation hung in Earth's orbit like a silver knife against the black of space. Its smooth hull reflected the blue glow of the planet below. Inside the main conference chamber, Admiral Tyke paced back and forth, his four eyes blinking in sequence, a sign of his growing impatience. "They are late," he said to no one in particular. Science Director Do-Yun looked up from his data pad. "Humans have different time concepts, Admiral. Their delegation will arrive in approximately 7 minutes according to their own schedule." Tyke made a clicking sound with his mouth parts, the equivalent of a frustrated sigh. 7 minutes could decide the fate of a battle. Their lack of punctuality does not inspire confidence. The chamber itself was designed to impress. Ceiling panels displayed a real-time map of the Confederation's territory, spanning 3 spiral arms of the galaxy. The walls shimmered with a subtle blue light, and the floor was polished to mirror-like perfection. At the center stood a large round table made from a rare metal that could not be found on Earth. "Remind me why we are considering these humans for alliance," Tyke said, stopping to stare out the viewing port at Earth below. Do-Hyun approached, standing a respectful distance from his superior. "The Krell invasion force will reach this system in 3 months. Our scouts report they have targeted Earth specifically, and why should that concern us? The humans are not part of the Confederation." "2 reasons, Admiral," Do-Hyun said, his voice calm and measured. "First, our laws require us to warn developing worlds of imminent threats. Second, our analysts believe humans show unusual potential." Tyke turned all 4 eyes toward his science director. "Potential? They barely have space travel. Their technology is primitive. Their technology, yes, but their adaptability is remarkable. They've survived multiple extinction-level events. They develop new ideas at an astonishing rate." A soft chime interrupted their conversation. The ship's AI spoke. "Human delegation approaching Docking Bay 3. Prepare to receive them," Tyke ordered. He straightened his ceremonial armor, deep blue plates that covered his tall, thin frame. "And bring the K9 unit." 20 minutes later, the human delegation entered the conference chamber. There were 5 of them, 3 males and 2 females. They wore formal blue uniforms with small pins showing Earth's continents on their collars. Tyke studied them carefully. Humans were strange creatures, soft-skinned with only 2 eyes and peculiar fur on top of their heads. They looked fragile, yet they moved with a confidence that surprised him. The lead human stepped forward. "I am Director Jiwoo of Earth's United Defense Council. Thank you for granting us this meeting." Her voice was clear and steady, showing no fear despite being surrounded by aliens with superior technology. "I am Admiral Tyke, Supreme Commander of the Confederation's 7th Fleet," he replied through the translator. "This is Science Director Do-Hyun." The humans bowed slightly, a gesture Tyke recognized from the cultural briefing. He responded with a slight tilt of his head. "Please be seated," Do-Hyun said, gesturing to the chairs around the table. As they sat, Tyke noticed one of the male humans, a broad-shouldered individual with short black hair, scanning the room with sharp eyes. A military man, without doubt. "I am General Hyunwoo," the man said, confirming Tyke's assessment. "Head of Earth's Defense Forces." The other humans introduced themselves. Chief Scientist Minji, a female with intelligent eyes and quick movements. Diplomat Junho, a slender male with a calm demeanor. And Security Advisor Suman, a female whose watchful gaze reminded Tyke of his best scouts. "We have called this meeting to discuss a grave threat approaching your world," Tyke began, activating the holographic display in the center of the table. A 3-dimensional map of Earth's solar system appeared, with a red cluster of dots moving slowly toward it. "This is the Krell invasion force. They will reach your system in approximately 90 Earth days." The humans leaned forward, studying the display with intense focus. "Who are these Krell?" asked General Hyunwoo. Do-Hyun touched his datapad, and the hologram changed to show alien ships, massive dark vessels with jagged edges like broken teeth. "The Krell are conquerors. They seek resources and slaves. They have destroyed 17 civilizations in the last standard cycle." Director Jiwoo's face remained calm, but her hands tightened slightly on the table edge. "Why are they targeting Earth specifically?" "Your planet is rich in water and rare minerals," Do-Hyun explained. "And your population would provide millions of new slaves for their mining operations. Why are you warning us?" Security Advisor Suman asked, her eyes narrowed with suspicion. "What do you gain from this?" Tyke appreciated her directness. The Confederation has laws about developing worlds. We must warn you of extinction-level threats. What you do with this warning is your choice. Can you help us fight them? General Hyunwoo asked. Direct intervention is forbidden unless a world is a Confederation member, Tyke replied. And membership requires certain qualifications, which we don't have, Chief Scientist Minji stated flatly. Not yet, Do-hyun said, his voice softer than Tyke's. But there is a path. Tyke shot his science director a sharp look, but did not contradict him. Instead, he pressed a button on his armor. A side door opened and 2 guards entered, carrying between them a sealed container about the size of a small earth dog. What is this? Director Jiwoo asked. A test, Tyke answered, and possibly your salvation. The guards placed the container on the table. It hummed softly, glowing with a faint blue light along its seams. This is the K9 Autonomous Defense Unit, Do-hyun explained. It represents the pinnacle of Confederation weapons technology. It contains quantum computing capabilities, adaptive defense systems, and neural interface technology. You're giving us a weapon? Diplomat Junho asked, speaking for the first time. No, Tyke said firmly. We are giving you an opportunity. If you can successfully bond with and utilize the K9 unit, we will consider your species for provisional alliance status. This would allow us to provide limited assistance against the Krell. And if we can't? General Hyunwoo asked. Tyke's 4 eyes blinked in sequence. Then you face the Krell alone. Director Jiwoo studied the container thoughtfully. What makes you think we can use technology so advanced? That, Do-hyun said with a gesture that approximated a human smile, is precisely what we wish to discover. Tyke touched the container, and it opened with a soft hiss. Mist spilled out, and as it cleared, the humans leaned forward to see what was inside. Sitting in the container was what appeared to be a metallic canine. Its body gleamed with a blue-silver sheen, covered in intricate patterns that seemed to shift when viewed from different angles. Its eyes were dark crystals that suddenly lit with an inner blue fire as it activated. The K9 unit stood, its movements fluid and natural despite its clearly mechanical nature. It turned its head, scanning each human in turn with its glowing eyes. The K9 will choose its primary operator, Do-hyun explained. The neural bond must form naturally or not at all. The humans watched in fascination as the mechanical creature stepped out of its container and onto the table. It moved with perfect balance, each step silent despite its metallic construction. The K9 stopped in front of Director Jiwoo. It tilted its head, studying her with an intelligence that was clearly visible in its crystalline eyes. What do I do? She asked quietly. Nothing, Tyke replied. It will decide. For a long moment no one moved. Then, with a grace that belied its mechanical nature, the K9 unit sat down directly in front of Jiwoo and extended one paw toward her. Do-hyun made a surprised sound. It has chosen. Jiwoo hesitantly reached out her hand. When her fingers touched the metallic paw, a soft blue light spread from the point of contact, flowing up her arm like luminous water. Neural interface initiated, the K9 unit spoke, its voice surprisingly warm and clear. Calibrating to human physiology, Jiwoo gasped, her eyes widening. I can feel it. In my mind, Tyke and Do-hyun exchanged meaningful glances. This was unexpected. No non-Confederation species had ever bonded so quickly with a K9 unit. The test begins now, Tyke announced. You have 30 days to master the K9 technology. We will return then for your demonstration. As the humans continued to watch in wonder, Tyke couldn't help but wonder if they had just made a terrible mistake, or discovered the most promising new allies in Confederation history. The secure laboratory beneath Seoul's defense ministry hummed with activity. 3 days had passed since the meeting with the Confederation aliens. Director Jiwoo stood with her arms crossed, watching as Chief Scientist Minji ran another scan on the K9 unit. Anything new? Jiwoo asked. Minji shook her head, her face showing both frustration and wonder. Its technology is beyond our understanding. The metal isn't like anything we have on Earth. It seems to change its molecular structure at will. The K9 unit sat patiently on the examination table. Its blue-silver body gleamed under the bright lights. Since arriving on Earth, it had remained mostly inactive, allowing the scientists to study it. General Hyunwoo entered the lab, followed by Security Advisor Suman. Any progress? He asked. Not much, Jiwoo admitted. We can scan it, but we don't understand what we're seeing. Yunwu frowned. We have 27 days until the Confederation returns, and only 90 days until the Krell arrive. We need results. Perhaps we're approaching this wrong, Suman suggested. Admiral Tyke said it's not just a weapon but a test. What if we're supposed to use it, not study it? Jiwoo nodded slowly. You may be right. She approached the K9 unit. Since their first contact on the Confederation ship, she had felt a strange connection to the machine. How do we activate you fully? She asked it directly. The K9's crystal eyes lit up brighter. Neural bonding incomplete, it replied. Full activation requires primary operator neural synchronization. What does that mean? Hyunwoo asked. Minji looked up from her instruments. I think it needs to connect more deeply with Director Jiwoo's mind. The touch on the ship was just the first step. Jiwoo took a deep breath. How do I complete the neural bond? The K9 stood up. Place both hands on my head. Warning. Neural synchronization is irreversible and will create a permanent link between operator and unit. The room fell silent. Everyone looked at Jiwoo. Is it safe? Suman asked, her voice filled with concern. We don't know, Minji answered honestly. This is alien technology, Jiwoo thought for a moment. The fate of Earth might depend on this decision. I'll do it, she said firmly. Director, wait, Hyunwoo protested. We should run more tests. This could be dangerous. We don't have time, Jiwoo replied. The Krell are coming. If this can help us, we need to know now. Before anyone could object further, she placed both hands on the K9's metallic head. Immediately, a wave of blue light flowed from the machine up her arms. Jiwoo gasped as strange sensations flooded her mind. Not painful, but overwhelming. Images flashed through her thoughts. Stars seen from unfamiliar skies. Battles against ships like those in the Confederation hologram. Strange alien faces. Knowledge poured into her consciousness, how the K9 functioned, its capabilities, its purpose. Director. Minji's voice seemed far away. Your vital signs are spiking. Jiwoo barely heard her. The connection was growing stronger. She could feel the K9 systems as if they were extensions of her own body. Then suddenly everything stabilized. The flood of information slowed to a manageable stream. Neural synchronization complete, the K9 announced, adapting interface to human psychology. To everyone's surprise, the K9 began to change. Its hard metallic surface shifted, becoming softer in appearance. The sharp angles rounded. What looked like fur materialized over its frame, still with the blue-silver sheen, but now appearing soft and touchable. Its face restructured, the eyes growing larger and rounder. What's happening? Hyunwoo demanded. Jiwoo smiled, understanding flowing through the neural link. It's adapting to human preferences. It's changing to a form that will help us work better together. The transformation complete, the K9 wagged its tail and made a sound remarkably like a playful bark. It looked less like a weapon now and more like a friendly robot dog. It's cute, Suman said, sounding surprised at her own words. Minji approached cautiously. May I? She asked Jiwoo, reaching toward the K9. Jiwoo nodded. It's safe. Minji touched the K9's new fur-like covering. It feels warm and soft, but I can still sense the metal underneath. The K9 turned to Jiwoo. Primary function, defense. Secondary function, adaptation. This form increases human comfort and strengthens neural bond. Can you still fight? Hyunwoo asked, looking skeptical at the now adorable-looking machine. In response, the K9 suddenly transformed. The cute exterior hardened, revealing weapon ports along its sides. A force field shimmered around it, and its eyes changed from friendly blue to intense red. Combat mode activated, it stated, its voice deeper and more mechanical. Everyone except Jiwoo stepped back in surprise. Through their neural link, she had felt the change coming and understood it was just a demonstration. Return to standard mode, she said calmly. The K9 immediately shifted back to its friendlier appearance, the weapons disappearing beneath the fur-like covering. Incredible, Minji whispered. It can completely change its structure in seconds. Jiwoo felt a new understanding flowing through the neural link. It's more than a weapon, she explained. It's designed to be a partner. The Confederation created it to fight alongside them, not just as a tool. And it made itself cute because, Hyunwoo asked, still looking confused. Because that's what works best with humans, Jiwoo replied. Through our link, it learned that humans form stronger bonds with things we find appealing or cute. It's not just appearance, it's psychology. We'll work better together this way. Suman nodded slowly. The Confederation said this was a test. Maybe they're testing if we can form a true partnership with their technology, not just use it. What else can it do? Minji asked, her scientific curiosity fully engaged. Jiwoo closed her eyes, accessing the knowledge flowing through the neural link. It has advanced defensive capabilities, force fields, energy absorption, and redirection. It can interface with our technology. It can replicate itself, creating more units if given the right materials. Replicate? Hyunwoo's eyes widened. You mean we could make more of these? Yes, Jiwoo confirmed. With the right resources, it can create copies that would bond with other humans. An army of these could change everything, Hyunwoo said, hope entering his voice for the first time since learning about the Krell. The K9 tilted its head, looking at Jiwoo. Through their link, she felt its question. It needs a name, she said. Calling it K9 unit feels wrong now that we're connected. A name. For a weapon? Hyunwoo looked skeptical again. It's not just a weapon, Jiwoo insisted. It's a partner, an ally. She thought for a moment, feeling the K9's presence in her mind, intelligent, loyal, protective. Buddy, she decided. I'll call him Buddy. The newly named Buddy wagged his tail, clearly approving of the choice. The others in the room exchanged glances, still adjusting to the idea of naming an alien weapon. We should begin testing its capabilities, Minji suggested. If we only have 27 days, we need to learn everything it can do. Jiwoo nodded. Buddy, can you show us your full defensive capabilities? Buddy barked once, then trotted to the center of the lab. A holographic display appeared above him, showing diagrams of his systems. Quantum shield generation, he explained, his voice now warmer and more natural sounding. Energy weapon neutralization. Adaptive camouflage. Environmental protection. As he listed each capability, the hologram changed to demonstrate it. The scientists watched in amazement. The Confederation wasn't exaggerating, Suman said quietly. This really is their most advanced technology. And they gave it to us, Minji added. The question is why? Jiwoo felt something through the neural link, a sense of purpose, of hope. I think they want allies, not servants, she said. They're testing if we can work with them as equals. Buddy looked up at her, his crystal eyes glowing softly. Through their connection, Jiwoo felt his agreement. Then we'll show them we can, Hyunwoo said with determination. Director, you and Buddy need to start training immediately. We'll prepare a demonstration that will convince the Confederation to help us against the Krell. As the others began making plans, Jiwoo knelt beside Buddy. She placed her hand on his head, feeling the strange combination of soft fur-like covering and the powerful technology beneath. We're going to save Earth, together, she told him quietly. Buddy wagged his tail and sent a feeling of absolute certainty through their neural link. In that moment, despite the enormous challenges ahead, Jiwoo felt something she hadn't expected. Hope. 2 weeks had passed since Jiwoo bonded with Buddy. The underground facility had transformed into a bustling command center. Scientists and military personnel worked around the clock, preparing for both the Confederation's return and the approaching Krell threat. Jiwoo stood in the large training room, watching as Buddy demonstrated his abilities to a group of selected military officers. The K9 unit moved with incredible speed, leaping over obstacles and generating force fields that blocked simulated weapon fire. Amazing, whispered Captain Minho, one of Earth's top fighter pilots. And you say we could each bond with one of these units? That's the plan, Jiwoo confirmed. Buddy has already helped us create 5 more K9 units. They're ready for bonding. General Hanwoo entered the room, his face serious. Director, we have an incoming transmission from the Confederation ship. Admiral Tech wants to speak with you. Jiwoo nodded. I'll take it in the communication room. She turned to Buddy. Come with me. They walked quickly through the facility's corridors. Staff members stepped aside, some smiling at Buddy. The K9 unit had become something of a mascot among the personnel, despite being the most advanced weapon on Earth. In the communication room, a large screen showed static, waiting for the connection. Minji was already there, adjusting the equipment. They're early, Minji said. The 30 days aren't up yet. Maybe they're checking on our progress, Jiwoo suggested. The screen flickered and Admiral Tak's alien face appeared. His 4 eyes blinked in sequence as he saw Jiwoo and Buddy. Director Jiwoo, he said, his translator converting his clicks and whistles into Korean. I see the K9 unit is functional. Hello, Admiral, Jiwoo replied politely. Yes, Buddy and I have formed a complete neural bond. Buddy? Taik's eyes narrowed. You named our most advanced weapon? Science Director Do-hyun appeared beside Taik in the transmission. What has happened to the K9's appearance? It looks different. Jiwoo placed her hand on Buddy's head. He adapted to better suit human psychology. The form enhances our neural connection. It looks like a pet, Taik said, his tone clearly disapproving. Buddy sat up straighter, his crystal eyes glowing brighter. Functionality is not compromised, he stated clearly. Combat capabilities are at 100%. Both aliens seemed startled to hear the K9 unit speak so naturally. You've modified its vocal patterns as well? Do-hyun asked, leaning closer to the screen. Buddy adapted himself, Jiwoo explained. Everything you see is his own doing, based on what works best with humans. Taik made a clicking sound that the translator didn't convert, likely a sign of frustration. The K9 unit was designed for war, Director Jiwoo. It contains our most advanced defensive technology. It is not a companion. With respect, Admiral, Jiwoo replied calmly. I believe you're wrong. Through our neural link, I've learned that the K9 was designed to form a true partnership with its operator. The bond is what makes it effective. Do-hyun's expression changed slightly. Interesting. The human has discerned the true purpose. Taik shot his science director a sharp look. That was not meant to be revealed. What wasn't meant to be revealed? Hyunwoo asked, stepping into view of the transmission. Do-hyun hesitated, then spoke. The K9 units were originally designed as partners, not just weapons. But over time, our military began to use them solely as tools. Their effectiveness decreased. Which is why you gave one to us, Jiwoo realized. You wanted to see if humans would discover their true purpose. A theory of mine, Do-hyun admitted. One that Admiral Taik reluctantly agreed to test. Taik's 4 eyes blinked rapidly. The point remains, the K9 should not look like a... What do you call it? A dog, Minji supplied. It's an earth animal known for loyalty and companionship. Show them, Buddy, Jiwoo said quietly. Buddy immediately transformed. His cute exterior hardened into battle mode, revealing weapon ports and sensor arrays. A force field shimmered around him, and his eyes changed from friendly blue to intense red. Combat mode active, he stated, his voice deeper and more mechanical. Even Taik looked impressed. It retains full functionality, and can switch between modes instantly, Jiwoo added. But here's what you might find most interesting. She nodded to Minji, who pressed a button on her console. A side door opened and 5 more K9 units entered the room, all in the friendlier dog form, but each slightly different in appearance. You've replicated them, Do-hyun said, his voice filled with surprise. With Buddy's help, Jiwoo confirmed. He guided us through the process. 5 of our best pilots have already formed neural bonds with them. Taik and Do-hyun exchanged looks. This is unexpected, Taik admitted. No other species has managed to replicate K9 units so quickly. There's more, Hyunwoo said. Show them the link, Director. Jiwoo nodded to the 5 K9 units. As one, they transformed into combat mode, their movements perfectly synchronized. Then they arranged themselves in a circle and generated a combined force field that encompassed the entire room. The neural links allow the units to work together, Jiwoo explained. They can combine their defensive capabilities, making them stronger than the sum of their parts. Remarkable, Do-hyun whispered. Even our people never achieved such coordination. Taik was silent for a long moment. Perhaps we underestimated your species, Director Jiwoo. Many do, she replied simply. It's a mistake the Krell will make as well. The K9 units returned to their standard mode, the combined force field disappearing. Buddy trotted back to Jiwoo's side, sitting beside her with what looked remarkably like pride. We will arrive in 13 days to conduct the formal evaluation, Taik said finally. Be prepared to demonstrate these capabilities. We will be, Hyunwoo assured him. After the transmission ended, the room was quiet for a moment. They seemed surprised, Minji observed. More than surprised, Hyunwoo said. They seemed shocked that we've accomplished so much so quickly. Jiwoo knelt beside Buddy, scratching behind his ears, a gesture that seemed to please the K9 unit despite his mechanical nature. I think they gave us the K9 as a test, but not the test we thought. What do you mean? Minji asked. They wanted to see if we would treat advanced technology as a tool or as a partner, Jiwoo explained. Based on Doyun's reaction, I think their own people failed that test. Buddy looked up at her, his crystal eyes glowing softly. Through their neural link, Jiwoo felt his agreement. So what happens now? Hyunwoo asked. Now we prepare for the demonstration, Jiwoo said, standing up. And we make more K9 units. As many as possible before the Krell arrive. Captain Minho, who had been watching silently, stepped forward. When can I bond with one? I want to help, Jiwoo smiled. Today if you're ready. The process is intense but worth it. As they left the communication room, Jiwoo felt a new message through her neural link with Buddy. It wasn't in words exactly, but in feelings and images. He was showing her something about the Confederation, their rigid hierarchy, their view of technology as tools rather than partners. They're afraid, she realized aloud. The Confederation? Hyunwoo asked. Afraid of what? Of change, Jiwoo replied. They've been doing things the same way for so long they've stopped growing. That's why they're testing us. They need new allies who think differently. Buddy barked softly in agreement. Well, Hyunwoo said with a small smile, they certainly got that with humans. As they walked through the facility, Jiwoo noticed how people reacted to Buddy, with smiles, with affection, but also with respect. They understood what he was, both a powerful weapon and a friend. That understanding, she realized, might be humanity's greatest strength in the coming battle. We have 13 days until the Confederation returns, she announced to her team. And after that, the Krell will be here. Let's show them all what humans and K9 units can do together. Buddy wagged his tail, his crystal eyes glowing with determination that matched her own. The sky above Seoul darkened as the Krell invasion fleet entered Earth's atmosphere. Massive black ships with jagged edges blocked the sun, casting shadows across the city. Alarms blared throughout the Defense Ministry's underground command center. Krell ships detected, announced the monitoring officer. 57 vessels entering atmosphere worldwide. Largest concentration approaching Asia. Director Jiwoo stood at the central command station, her face calm despite the crisis. Beside her, Buddy sat alert, his crystal eyes glowing bright blue. Through their neural link, she could feel his readiness for battle. All K9 units report status, she ordered. General Hyunwoo checked the large display screen covering one wall. It showed the positions of 120 K9 units deployed around the world. Each dot on the map represented a bonded human K9 pair. All units online and ready, he confirmed. Neural links at maximum strength. In the month since the Confederation's evaluation visit, they had worked non-stop to prepare. Admiral Tuck had been impressed by their progress. Impressed enough to provide materials for creating more K9 units before departing. The Confederation ships now waited in orbit, observing but not interfering as agreed. The Krell are broadcasting, said Communications Officer Sunwoo. They're on all frequencies. Put it through, Jiwoo ordered. A harsh, grating voice filled the command center. Humans of Earth, we are the Krell Dominion. Your world is now our property. Surrender and serve as our slaves or be eliminated. You have 1 hour to decide. They always say that, muttered Captain Minho, who stood nearby with his own K9 unit. A slightly darker blue model he had named Storm. The Confederation showed us records of their previous invasions. And no one has ever successfully fought them off, Hyunwoo reminded him. Until today. Jiwoo turned to face the room full of officers and scientists. This is what we've prepared for. The Krell expect us to either surrender or fight with conventional weapons. They don't know about our K9 units or our partnership with the Confederation. What are your orders, Director? Asked Hyunwoo. Jiwoo looked down at Buddy, who gazed back with intelligent eyes. Through their neural link, they communicated without words, sharing strategies and possibilities faster than speech would allow. Implement Defense Plan Alpha, she announced. All K9 units to remain in stealth mode until my signal. Let the Krell think our response is limited to conventional forces. Around the world, military jets scrambled to meet the Krell ships. Tanks and ground forces moved into position. To any observer, including the Krell, it would appear that Earth was mounting a traditional defense. The Krell are launching fighter craft, reported the monitoring officer. Hundreds of small vessels deploying from the main ships. On the main screen, they watched as swarms of black, insect-like fighters descended toward major cities. Earth's jets rose to meet them, but the difference in technology was immediately apparent. Krell weapons tore through Earth's best fighters with ease. Our aircraft are taking heavy losses, Hyunwoo reported grimly. Hold the K9 units, Jiwoo ordered. Not yet. Through her neural link with Buddy, she monitored the Krell attack pattern. The K9's advanced sensors could detect things human technology missed. She could feel Buddy analyzing the enemy ships, identifying weaknesses, predicting movements. They're following standard conquest protocol, Buddy stated, speaking so everyone could hear. First wave is designed to eliminate military resistance. Second wave will target power and communication infrastructure. Third wave will begin resource extraction. How long until the second wave? Jiwoo asked. Approximately 12 minutes at current deployment rate, Buddy replied. Jiwoo nodded. That's our window. All K9 units prepare for synchronized activation on my mark. Around the world, humans bonded with K9 units received her command. Through the neural network that connected all K9 units, they could communicate instantly across any distance. The Krell fighters continued their assault, destroying Earth's conventional defenses with frightening efficiency. On the command center screens, they watched as cities came under attack. The situation looked increasingly desperate. The Krell commander's voice broadcast again. Your resistance is futile. Your weapons cannot harm our ships. Surrender now. Jiwoo looked at Hyunwoo and nodded. Now, Hyunwoo pressed a button on his console. All K9 units activate. Combat mode. Execute Plan Alpha. Across the globe, 120 K9 units transformed from their friendly appearance to battle mode. Their cute exteriors hardened, revealing weapon ports and sensor arrays. Force fields shimmered around them and their human partners. In Seoul, Tokyo, New York, London, Moscow, and dozens of other cities, the K9 units revealed themselves. The Krell fighters, focused on conventional military targets, didn't immediately notice the new threat. All units, Jiwoo commanded through the neural network. Initiate quantum shield coverage. Buddy led the sequence, generating a powerful force field that expanded outward. The other K9 units followed, their shields connecting and strengthening each other. Within minutes, shimmering domes of energy covered major population centers around the world. The Krell fighters fired on the shields, but their weapons couldn't penetrate. They're confused, Minho reported with a smile, receiving information through his link with Storm. Their sensors can't identify our shield technology. Phase 2, Jiwoo ordered. Counterattack. The K9 units began the next stage of their plan. Their weapon ports opened, firing concentrated beams of energy at the Krell fighters. Unlike Earth's conventional weapons, these beams cut through the Krell ships with ease. It's working, exclaimed Minji, watching the tactical display. The K9 weapons are effective against their hulls. The Krell responded quickly, redirecting their fighters to target the K9 units. But the human K9 pairs were too mobile, too coordinated. Through their neural links, humans guided their partners with perfect synchronization, avoiding Krell fire while continuing their attack. The Krell motherships are moving, reported the monitoring officer. They're descending to lower altitude. On the main screen, they watched as the massive black ships moved closer to Earth's surface. Weapon ports opened along their hulls. They're preparing to use their main weapons, Buddy announced. Planetary bombardment imminent. Jiwoo felt a moment of fear but pushed it aside. All units prepare for Phase 3, Quantum Reflection Array. This was the most difficult part of their plan and the most uncertain. They had never tested it at full scale. The K9 units around the world began to coordinate their energy fields in a specific pattern. Through the neural network, Jiwoo could feel the immense power building as the fields aligned. Krell energy weapons charging, reported the monitoring officer, voice tense. Firing in 10 seconds. Hold the array, Jiwoo commanded. Wait for my signal. The Krell ships glowed with terrible energy as their main weapons reached full power. Then as one, they fired. Beams of destructive force shot toward Earth's surface, powerful enough to level entire cities. Now, Jiwoo shouted. The K9 quantum reflection array activated. The combined force field shifted, creating a complex energy pattern designed to catch and redirect the Krell weapons. As the deadly beams struck the array, they didn't break through. Instead, they were caught, held, and then sent back toward their source. The Krell ships had no defense against their own weapons. The redirected energy tore into their hulls, causing massive explosions. 3 of the largest ships broke apart immediately. Others sustained heavy damage. In the command center, cheers erupted as they watched the Krell fleet falter. It worked. Hyunwoo exclaimed, his usual stoic expression breaking into a smile. But Jiwoo and Buddy remained focused. Through their link, they could sense that the battle wasn't over. The Krell are adapting, Buddy warned. They're changing their weapon frequency. All units adjust reflection parameters, Jiwoo ordered. Prepare for sustained defense. The remaining Krell ships regrouped, their weapons charging again. But now there was a new development. A communication signal came through. Not broadcast widely like before, but directed specifically to the command center. "This is Krell War Commander Vexicor," a harsh voice announced. "Who leads this defense? Who possesses Confederation technology?" Jiwoo exchanged glances with Hyunwoo, then nodded. "This is Director Jiwoo of Earth's United Defense Council. We are prepared to continue this battle to protect our world." There was a pause before the Krell commander responded. "Impossible. Your species is primitive. You cannot operate such advanced systems." Buddy stepped forward, his crystal eyes glowing fiercely. "They are not primitive," he stated clearly. "They are partners." The silence that followed was profound. Then the Krell commander spoke again, his tone changed. "The K9 units speak for humans? This changes calculations." On the tactical display, they could see the Krell ships beginning to pull back, rising higher into the atmosphere. "Are they retreating?" Minyo asked in disbelief. "No," Buddy replied. "They are reassessing." "The Krell do not retreat. They adapt," Jiwoo nodded grimly. "This is just the beginning. All units maintain defense positions. The real battle is about to start." Three days had passed since the first Krell attack. The massive alien ship still hung in Earth's atmosphere, but they had not resumed their assault. Instead, they maintained a threatening position, occasionally moving to test Earth's defenses. In the command center beneath Seoul, Director Jiwoo studied the tactical display with tired eyes. She hadn't slept more than a few hours since the battle began. Beside her, Buddy remained vigilant, his systems requiring no rest. "They're planning something," General Hyunwoo said, joining her at the display. He looked as exhausted as she felt. "This waiting is their strategy. They hope we'll exhaust ourselves," Jiwoo agreed. "Maintaining the quantum shields requires constant focus from our bonded pairs." Through her neural link with Buddy, she could feel the strain on the other human K9 teams around the world. The mental connection that made them so effective also meant they shared the burden of maintaining their defenses. "We need to end this soon," she said. Quietly, the communication officer's voice interrupted her thoughts. "Director, we're receiving a transmission from the Confederation flagship." "Put it through," Jiwoo ordered. Admiral Tyke's image appeared on the main screen. His four eyes blinked in sequence as he studied the humans. "Director Jiwoo," he said formally, "the Confederation Council has been monitoring your defense against the Krell." "As observers only," Hyunwoo noted with a hint of bitterness. As agreed. Tyke's mouth parts clicked, a gesture they now recognized as acknowledgement. "Yes, that was our agreement. However, circumstances have changed." "How so?" Jiwoo asked. "The Krell have requested a formal negotiation," Tyke replied. "With both Earth and the Confederation." This news sent a ripple of surprise through the command center. The Krell were conquerors, not diplomats. They took what they wanted by force. Why would they negotiate? Minji asked, looking up from her workstation. "Because you have done what no other developing world has accomplished," Tyke explained. "You have fought the Krell to a standstill. More importantly, you have demonstrated mastery of K9 technology in ways that surprised us." Through her link with Buddy, Jiwoo sensed there was more to this story. "What aren't you telling us, Admiral?" Tyke hesitated, then Science Director Do-hyun moved into view beside him. "The Krell and the Confederation have a complex history," Do-hyun explained. "Long ago we shared technology. The Krell were once potential allies before they chose conquest over cooperation." "The K9 units," Buddy said suddenly, his voice clear and firm. "They recognize the technology." Tyke's four eyes widened slightly. "Yes. The original K9 design was developed when our civilization still communicated. The Krell created similar units but could never achieve the neural bonding that makes them truly effective. Because they tried to control the technology instead of partnering with it," Jiwoo realized. the understanding flowing through her link with Buddy. Precisely, Do-Yun confirmed. The Krell believe in domination, not cooperation. They could not conceive of treating advanced technology as equals. And now they've seen humans do what they couldn't, Hyun-woo said, beginning to understand. Taik nodded. The Krell war commander has requested a meeting. On neutral ground, our flagship. Will you attend, Director Ji-woo? She looked down at Buddy, who gazed back with his intelligent crystal eyes. Through their link, they shared thoughts faster than words could express. The risks, the possibilities, the potential outcomes. We will attend, she decided. But I have conditions. Name them, Taik replied. First, Buddy comes with me. Second, Captain Minho and his K9 unit Storm will accompany us as security. Third, the quantum shields remain active on Earth during negotiations. Taik considered these terms, then nodded. Acceptable. We will send a shuttle to your location in 2 hours. After the transmission ended, Hyun-woo turned to Ji-woo with concern. This could be a trap. It could, she agreed. But it's also our best chance to end this conflict without more destruction. 2 hours later, Ji-woo stood on the roof of the Defense Ministry with Buddy at her side. Captain Minho and Storm waited nearby, both alert and ready. A sleek silver shuttle from the Confederation descended from the clouds, landing gently on the designated pad. Ready? Ji-woo asked Buddy. Always, he replied, his voice calm and confident. The journey to the Confederation flagship took less than 30 minutes. Through the shuttle's windows, Ji-woo could see both the massive Confederation ships and the dark, jagged forms of the Krell vessels maintaining their positions in Earth's orbit. When they arrived, Admiral Taik himself greeted them in the docking bay. The Krell representatives are already in the conference chamber, he informed them. They brought no weapons, as agreed. Neither did we, Ji-woo replied with a small smile, resting her hand on Buddy's head. Through their neural link, she could feel his amusement at her statement. They both knew that in combat mode, Buddy was more powerful than any conventional weapon. The conference chamber was large and circular, with a round table at its center. On one side waited 3 Krell, tall insect-like beings with dark exoskeletons and multiple limbs. Their compound eyes gleamed in the chamber's light. War Commander Vexcor, Taik announced, indicating the largest Krell. This is Director Ji-woo of Earth. The Krell commander's mandibles clicked as he studied Ji-woo and Buddy. So, the human who bonded with Confederation technology, and the K9 unit that speaks. I am Ji-woo, she replied calmly. And this is Buddy. You named it, Vexcor observed. Curious. He is my partner, not my tool, Ji-woo explained. That's why we succeeded where you failed. The Krell commander's compound eyes flashed, perhaps with anger, perhaps with interest. Bold words from a species we could still destroy. You could try, Minho said from behind Ji-woo, but you've seen what our K9 units can do. Taik raised a hand for calm. We are here to negotiate, not threaten. What do the Krell want? Ji-woo asked directly. Vexcor's mandibles clicked rapidly. The Krell Dominion requires resources, new worlds, new technologies. This has always been our way. Taking by force what you could gain through cooperation, Buddy stated. The Krell commander focused his compound eyes on the K9 unit. The machine speaks with emotion. Impossible. Not impossible, Do-Hyun said, joining the conversation. Simply a different approach to technology. The humans don't try to control the K9 units. They form true partnerships, and that makes them more effective, Vexcor concluded. We have observed this. Ji-woo sensed an opening. The Earth has resources we could share through trade. Knowledge we could exchange. There's no need for conquest. The Krell do not trade, Vexcor stated flatly. We take. And how has that worked for you? Ji-woo challenged. Your ships are damaged. Your fighters destroyed. And for what? A battle you didn't need to fight. The room fell silent. Even Taik seemed surprised by her directness. Finally, Vexcor spoke again. What do you propose, human? Ji-woo took a deep breath. A new approach. The Confederation observes but rarely interferes. The Krell conquer but never truly gain what they seek. Earth offers a third path. Partnership. Explain, demanded Vexcor. Earth joins the Confederation as a full member, Ji-woo said. The Krell agree to end their conquest campaign. Instead, we form a 3-way alliance. Earth can serve as a bridge between your civilizations. Impossible, Taik said immediately. The Confederation would never— The human idea has merit, interrupted Do-hyun. Our old ways have led to centuries of conflict. Perhaps it is time for change. Vexcor's compound eyes shifted between the humans and the Confederation representatives. And what would the Krell gain from this alliance? Access to resources through fair exchange, Jiwoo explained. Scientific cooperation. And perhaps with time, the secret to true neural bonding with advanced technology. This last offer clearly interested the Krell commander. His mandibles clicked rapidly as he considered. The Krell Council would need to approve such a radical change, he said. Finally, as would the Confederation Council, added, but he stepped forward, his crystal eyes glowing brightly. Then let us show them what is possible. To everyone's surprise, Buddy transformed, not into his combat mode, but into a new form they had never seen before. His body shifted, taking on elements that resembled both Confederation and Krell technology while maintaining his core structure. Adaptation is strength, Buddy stated. Cooperation is power. Together we can achieve what none could accomplish alone. Through their neural link, Jiwoo felt Buddy's intention. He was demonstrating the very principle they were proposing, different approaches coming together to create something new and stronger. Vexcor reached out one clawed limb toward Buddy, hesitating just above his head. May I? Jiwoo nodded, and the Krell commander placed his claw gently on Buddy's head. There was no neural link. That would take time and trust to develop. But the gesture itself was powerful. I will bring this proposal to the Krell Council, Vexcor decided. A 3-month ceasefire while we negotiate terms. The Confederation will do the same, Tyke agreed, his 4 eyes blinking in a pattern that suggested deep thought. As the formal terms of the ceasefire were discussed, Jiwoo knelt beside Buddy, who had returned to his standard form. You never told me you could do that, she whispered. Through their link, she felt his response, a mixture of satisfaction and hope. I didn't know until we needed it, he replied. That's the beauty of true partnership. We grow together. 3 months later, representatives from Earth, the Confederation, and the Krell Dominion gathered in a newly constructed interstellar relations center in Seoul. The formal alliance treaty was signed with great ceremony. As Jiwoo watched the historic moment, with Buddy sitting proudly beside her, she remembered how it all began, with an alien weapon that humans had called cute, and that had changed the course of 3 civilizations. They gave us their most advanced weapon, she whispered to Buddy. But what they really gave us was a friend. Buddy wagged his tail, his crystal eyes glowing with intelligence and affection. And sometimes, he replied, that is the most powerful weapon of all.